Hey there, this is Sven from Sweden. Welcome to the ePreneur Show, the podcast where we pick the brains of the experts in all the niches that you want to know about when it comes to online marketing, internet marketing, social media, uh, everything you can come up with when it comes to marketing online, more or less. Tonight's speaker, we could call it, the, he had me laughing within 30 seconds of just starting our call. So this is an energetic person. He's really outgoing. He's written the largest book that has ever um, been printed. He actually told me just a couple of seconds ago that he had to trim it down because there were too many pages and they weren't able to print or bind a book that big. So um, it's called the Social Media Bible, and it's really an encyclopedia of social media and online strategies and stuff. So it's gonna be a whole lot of fun talking to this guy, and I hope you will enjoy this call. So let me introduce to you Lon Safko. Did I pronounce that right?
Yeah, very good. You're the first person in about 10 years that did. Thank you.
Okay, awesome. All right, so tell us, tell the audience, who are you? Where do you come from? How did you get started?
Well, I was born at
Take
a
the
very
short version.
I was born at a very young age in in New York. Uh,
Really?
yeah, actually, I graduated with a civil engineering degree, which I haven't used in 30 years. But one of the things that was interesting is I formed my first company, which was a civil engineering company, and I quickly realized that I had some really good services, but if you don't understand marketing, it's that old adage, if you build a better mousetrap, the world will beat a path to your door. But if you don't know marketing and you build a better mousetrap, you just end up with more dead mice. So I had to go out and learn how to market. So I really got excited about both technology and marketing. So over the last, X amount of years through my career, I've always been on the cutting edge of both. And when social media came around, that was the perfect storm of both technology and marketing.
All right. That was a very abrupt ending.
Well, and I
So,
try to do sound bites so that if you have a thought, that way you can kind of prompt whatever the next segment is. If I talk too
oh,
long, then I interrupt you.
oh, really? Okay, okay, I gotcha.
Yeah, in
So,
radio
well,
they get really ticked if you talk if you talk any longer than I just did.
oh, you talk as much as talk as much as you want. That's what you're here for.
Oh, thank you, Sven.
I mean, I was raised to interrupt whenever I want to say something, so I'm not as polite as most other people are. So.
And I was born in New
But
York, so I have
oh,
trouble.
all right. So, well, how did you start with the online world, so to speak? Well, I mean, you must have started somewhere to come up with an encyclopedia for online marketing.
Well, yeah, actually I did. Well, my technology actually goes back to when I created my civil engineering firm, I built 14 companies in my career. And my first company was civil engineering, and I taught myself how to program. What was that new technology at the time? Oh, yeah, computers. And nobody in engineering knew anything about them. So I wrote all of this software for civil engineering and actually had one of the world's first CAD CAM computer-aided design companies in anywhere where it would do earthwork computations and coordinate geometry and all that other surveying kind of crazy stuff. So that was kind of fun because again it was marketing, it was technology, and I was using my engineering background. But then I got a little bored and I started teaching my computer. Actually, believe it or not, I taught it how to speak. In 1978, that was a big deal. Nowadays, your cell phone will talk to you and it will listen. But in 1978, that was a really big deal. So it would speak. And then I thought, wouldn't it be cool if I can teach it to listen? So actually, I didn't even realize it at the time, but I invented the first commercial voice recognition system ever in the world, which eventually led to Siri and all of the other voice recognition that we're using today.
And when was this?
It started in 1978, and I formed my company in 1984.
Wow.
Yeah, and I started working with Apple. Microsoft and IBM was really big at the time. They had a very large share of the PC market. And then I connected that with, again, it was turned out to be a world's first, home automation. So basically, imagine like 1981 or 2, you can sit in front of a computer and say, light on, television off, lock door, air conditioner up, answer phone. And it would do that. And then the next step was, is I worked with physically disabled because they're especially quadriplegics who are paralyzed from the neck down. And I actually started saving people's lives with these computers. The next thing I know is I'm on television on the news for being the first person to save a human life with a computer. And then I get a telephone call from Apple Computer, from John Scully himself. And then next thing I know, I have a company, and I was a developer for, my company was a developer for Apple for more than a decade, developing voice recognition and assistive technology.
Wow.
Yeah.
That's pretty, that's an impressive track record, I must say.
Kind of crazy. And then when Steve Jobs came back, he saw the computer. They bought the very second computer. The first one saved somebody's life. The second one went to Apple, and they had a museum in their world headquarters. And Steve Jobs came in one day and said, "What the hell is this?" Because he was real charming like that. I got a chance to work with him. And the woman explained it. So he says, "Well, get a sign in there. If this is the first computer to save a human life, then put a sign in there." So I'm actually kind of been verified by Steve Jobs.
Yeah, that must have been quite cool.
It was cool, and I got a chance to meet and work with Wozniak. He's a very gentle, very kind man, who, again, one of the original founders of Apple. And back in the 80s and 90s, Apple was it was kind of like the Google of the day. It was an exciting place to be associated with.
Mm-hmm.
And then those inventions, I helped build the $15 billion assistive technology industry. And a lot of the stuff that you see physically disabled using today is stuff that I pioneered in the 80s. 18 inventions and 30,000 of my personal records are part of the permanent collection of the Smithsonian Institution in Washington, D.C. now.
Cool. So do you have any patents for stuff like that too?
You know, the funny thing is that back in the 80s and 90s, the United States Patent Office, as well as the international patent offices, would not issue a patent on software because they couldn't figure out exactly what it was. It was a bunch of words that did something, but they were words, so you can copyright it. But if somebody changes the words around and does exactly what you're doing, that was perfectly legal, which is why Microsoft stole Lotus 1-2-3 and turned it into Excel, and and Microsoft stole, and I can go through a whole big list, all of the big companies.
Oh, be careful. We might have to put a disclaimer in this.
Well, I actually sued Microsoft for stealing my stuff, and they created